last night I did Jeremy. Her interview was only 45 minutes, so I'm hoping we could do this one pretty quickly. I think this is gonna be pretty easy because you're very good on the with chatting. So I'm thinking you and I are gonna be okay. So Joy, thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, number one question:
Mhm.
What did you go to school for?
I'm initially graduated as a nurse. I'm yeah, and after years of being a clinical nurse, I took BSIT. I am a double degree lady, so it's really out of the initial course that I have. So I really love computers. So I pursue after my nursing. I graduated nursing after 10 years. I go to school and studied IT as again.
Gotcha. So were you actually a nurse then?
Yes.
You were a nurse. That's incredible. What is it that wanted you to change careers?
Well, honestly, I just finished my school in nursing because my mom really likes it. But my initial course, I really love to be in accounting or finance or in computer engineering. Salary is not really that enough, so I went to
Gotcha.
a call center.
I see.
Then that's it. That's history.
Gotcha. Yeah, I bet you did pretty well. I mean, you have a great, and I'm sure you've been told this before, but you do have a great English sounding voice. You have a
Thank you.
yeah. Now, do you did it take some time to work on that, or have you just always obviously it takes some time to learn another language, but
Well, I started in the call center industry. Before that, I'm fond of watching Friends. So
gotcha.
yeah, so that's one of my favorite sitcom back then. Then I practiced English. I really like the Southern accent, so I took
Yeah.
that. And yeah, in a call center, when we do training before, yeah, that's I really learned the hard way, especially the accent. So yeah.
I have an enormous amount of respect for people that can speak two languages because it's not easy, and you speak it well, Joy. You really do.
Thank you. That's actually one of my points when I apply, especially in Australian and US clients.
Mhm.
That's my voice and how I modulate it. Because in call center before they teach modulation, how your intonation.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's really helpful in all Filipinos working in the call center before. That
Yeah.
was 2008, I
Yeah,
guess.
gotcha. Okay, that's amazing. All right, so you went from a nurse where the money was not enough. So you got your nursing degree, went to be a nurse, then the money was not enough, and you actually got paid better at a call center. How long were you at the call center for?
I was there like 10 years. After
Oh,
graduation, 2005, I went in the call to 2 years for nursing, 2008 until 2000, I guess, 14 or 15, 16.
yep.
That's kind of years. Then that's it.
Gotcha. All right, so then the magic question is, how did you eventually go from the call center space to mortgage?
One of my friends is also a call center agent. We got bored in taking calls in a telecommunications company because your spiel is every day. So she went on searching for what career should be good for us. So when we got in Shaw Boulevard somewhere in Mandaluyong, she saw this advertisement wanted setup processors.
What was it like going from knowing nothing to a setup processor? Was there formal training? How did that work?
There is a formal training. We were in a training for a month for FHA VA.
Mm.
Although we're just a setup, we were taking like a full course underwriting process.
What were you actually doing as a setup person?
Well, when we receive the documents from the LO,
Mhm,
usually it's a pile of documents. We break
mhm.
it down and then assign it to the right processor, or this is the files that you need for purchasing agreement and all of that. We break it down for them. And once it's not complete, we ask the LO to complete it, get them back, and then bring it back to us if it's complete. That's the
Gotcha.
work of a processor or setup processor before.
Gotcha. All right, so you had to know your income documentation, your asset documentation, your credit
Yes.
documentation, IDs, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And did you at that point, did you have to understand LTV and DTI, or were you just
Yes,
mostly gotcha.
we are required to understand that because when you receive the documents, you have to look on. We used before the one of the oldest mortgage thing, but I forgot the name. I think it's one of the oldest. So
Gotcha.
when we get the documents, we also put the information of the borrower. So that's how
Gotcha.
set up things do in the
Gotcha.
yeah.
So you're almost doing a pre-qualification at that point, kinda like a loan
Yes.
officer assistant now.
Yes.
That's incredible. How long did it take you to feel comfortable? And what I'll tell you is that when I first started processing, I had an enormously difficult time. I maybe I'm not good at learning new things, I'm not sure, but it was very hard for me. How long did it
Yeah.
take you to grasp all those concepts?
I think it's 2 months, three
Oh,
months.
wow.
Because for me, if it's challenging, I really like my brain working. So if I
Sure.
feel like I'm being challenged, then I take the challenge. And even if it's hard, I always say it's easy. So
Yeah, gotcha.
yeah,
As a setup person with
yeah,
basically knowledge, underwriting level knowledge already of the loan, how long
yeah.
were you there for? Let's
I have been there like 4 years. Yeah, 4 or 5 years. Yes,
Okay.
because after I've been a setup a team, I was promoted to become a processor.
Okay.
So from then on, I was promoted as a junior underwriter. So if something that challenges me, I would really love to go there. Then I would go there. So that's how I work up from there.
Gotcha. All right. So the setup person to a processor, tell me what that was like being a processor at IHL. What was their job duties?
Oh, the job duties from there. We actually request for a lot. Work VOE. We request or we review sometimes the income before we hand it over to the process to the underwriter. We
Okay.
review income, the assets, and most of the times we also request for cavers.
hmm
Most of the time, credit. Because in
hmm
setup team, they don't request that. So we're the ones who requesting the credit report, the FHA ID number, case number,
Yep.
so we're the ones who's doing that. So we're actually the mediators of the underwriter and the LO. So we're the one who's talking to them all the time,
Gotcha.
all the
Yeah. So the underwriters are kind of shielded from the loan
time.
officers, and then you've got to go and actually deliver the communication of what's going on.
Yes,
I bet that's pretty difficult because you're probably dealing with a lot of frustrated loan officers and frustrated underwriters. And
correct.
gotcha. Gotcha.
All
There's
the
that.
stress is in the processor.
Yeah. 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 Hey, that's very, very true. I know that from being a processor myself. That's the most stressful job. You always get the blame for everything.
Yes.
So then you went from processing to a junior underwriter. And then what did you do as a junior underwriter?
Well, that is much kind of relaxing thing that I have because I really don't need to talk to any loan officer by that time. So
Uh-huh.
I decide
hmm
before I decide I have a senior underwriter,
hmm
because they are the only people that have the FHA number, they are the only peoples that approve the loans. So
hmm
before I do the pre-approval, I always write it, are you going from here or what? I review the full documents from top to bottom. So from 1003 up until the DU.
I guess question: why did you leave IHL?
Oh, they closed down
Oh, they did.
because
Okay.
they were hit by the rates that time.
Gotcha.
So we were
Okay.
we were forced to evacuate or go
Yeah.
out and set you free. So
Gotcha. I see. All right. So then you jumped to another company. It sounds like for a short period of time, and then
yeah,
after
and
that,
then
did you land at Greenbox?
yes.
Gotcha. And what? How'd you end up finding Greenbox? How did they recruit you?
Well, Greenbox is actually a really good company in terms of not what do you call this, non QM,
Uh huh.
because they really had a great guidelines when it comes to non QM bank statements. I really had a very challenging bank statement before because I really don't know how to do that. So
Sure.
for me, when I started there, bank statements is really pain in my ass. So it it's really like 6 months for me before I get used to it. The only thing that really doesn't like about them, even if it's not your fault, it's someone's fault. It is your fault. So yeah, it's kind of heavy for me.
And you said it was kind of intense being there.
Yes.
That there was a lot of pressure. Explain to me what it was like working for them and the pressure that you felt.
The pressure that I felt, it's micromanaging because
Sure.
I really don't like being micromanaged because
Uh-huh.
I really have an initiative to do things,
Uh-huh.
especially when the next person really needs it. I
hmm
don't really like the work to be jumping around, pass it on, pass it out.
So then, how did things end with Greenbox? Were you working for them when we met you, or did you get let go because of the interest rates?
No, I resigned because my health starting to not like it anymore.
Oh wow.
So I resigned from last September. I told them I cannot do it anymore because my health is deteriorating. So they
Gotcha.
let me go. But honestly, they don't want me to let me go because, yeah, as I mentioned, I'm one of the underwriters that they can depend on from by that time.
And then when did so that was in September. When did we meet?
October.
We met in
I was
October.
hired September 25th. I resigned around first week of September because I really can't do it anymore.
Gotcha. All right. So we meet, and you met with me. I imagine you met with Charisse. Did you know Kay as well?
Yes, she's from Greenbox as well. She's one of our great processors before. So
Yeah.
she's really good on processing.
Yeah.
Hands
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
to her.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. So that you know Kay, and then you knew Jeremy as well.
Yes, one of the good DD underwriter before.
All right, so we started chatting and then we paired you with a client. What was the for the candidates that are also watching this? What was the interview process like for you, meeting with clients and getting paired with a client?
Oh yeah. At first, I'm really nervous, but when I come to think of it, I always talk to loan officers. Um, I became very friendly to them. Most of the time, when the interview started, the process is really good because, Charisse really helped me a lot, especially the other girl named our HR department, sorry.
Mary Core.
Yeah, she's also very helpful. So the interview outcome on that time when I met with the clients, it's really seamless
Hmm.
and it's really organized. So
Awesome.
I love the synchronization of the interview with clients before.
Gotcha. And then you get paired with a client. And
Yes.
the audience watching, Joy's client absolutely adores her.
Yeah.
It appears from my perspective that they get along fantastically well. Um, and so tell us what it's like working in a, and obviously we don't give client names on these interviews,
Yeah.
but tell us what it's like working for your client and what you do for her.
The things that I do for her is I review the initial loan application. Once the borrower submitted the loans and arrive, can I say that?
Hmm.
Arrive?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, sorry. Once I receive the application from Arrive, that's the time that I'll review the initial 1003, and
Okay.
then I do the needs list and review the income that they they provided on the 1003. Then when I review the initial 1003, that's the time that I'll be sending them the client's needs list and the disclosures to sign on, and sending them an email knowing letting them know that, hey, we received your application, kindly provide this documentation and we'll review. Once the borrower send us the email or documents back,
Hmm.
that's the time that I review the documents that I receive. Usually it's an asset and income documentation. I
Sure.
compute the income for my client, and then I review the assets and the IDs, everything. Then I tell my client that, hey, this application client needs list is complete. I think this is for pre-approval
Hmm.
because most of the times we do shadow loans.
Okay, so you're doing a lot of these shadow loans. You're doing some VA, FHA. Are you doing conventional loans very much?
No. Most of
Okay.
the time she handles the shadow loans because
Okay.
she's the only client that serves shadow loans for Washington, California, and I guess in the west side. She's the
Yeah,
only one.
and for the audience watching, she happens to be a very high producer. She's part of a very
Yes.
large reputable brokerage, and she's the number one
Yes.
producer at that brokerage. And so she
And
she
she's
does
a
a heck.
boss.
Yeah, she's a boss. She does a lot of those loans. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so you're basically pre-qualifying the borrower, and you're what we would call an LOA, a loan officer assistant,
Hmm.
a loan partner. Right, there's some different words for it depending on which part of the country you're from. What else does she have you doing? Any other activities if you don't have anything to pre-qual for that day?
Yes. I do marketing as well. I send out marketing materials. I do marketing flyers. I
Awesome.
I do I do email follow-ups on the leads, cold
Hmm.
calling sometimes. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's I
Okay.
do all the time.
Gotcha. And what percentage of your job is mortgage pre-qualifying related, and what percentage of it is marketing and calls?
60/40.
Okay. All right. So the majority of the by a small margin, most of what you're doing is pre-qualification based.
Yes, yes,
Gotcha. Do you like all of that? Are you happy with those?
yes.
Okay.
Especially with her, with my
Yeah.
client, with
G-
with my client. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm
Yeah,
really
because you get to
happy.
wake up and go to work for just her every day.
Yes.
Is that better? Explain to me why that's better. If it is, explain to me why that's better than going to work at Greenbox, for example, where every single loan is for a different loan officer. What difference does it make to you?
I get to know the loan officer really
Mm,
because I'd really like to know what's in their mind
mhm,
and what's really what will be the things that they really wanted,
mhm,
and how can we, I really wanted to do bargaining. If you don't like what I do, and if I don't like what you do, let's come across, sit down and talk about it, and then we'll,
mhm.
yeah, that's how I do things. So
Gotcha.
that's me and my client do. So if she doesn't like it, she tells me. If I don't like it, I'll tell her.
Gotcha.
Then yeah, we're gonna compromise each other.
Uh,
So I think that's the key of having her or having my client with me for until now. I'm lucky because yeah, she's very honest.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think that's a great lesson for some of the candidates watching this. I may actually take parts of all of
Yeah,
the interviews and I might make candidate-facing videos for candidates. One of the things that I encourage candidates to do is have a strong opinion and a strong voice because loan officers, they're looking for somebody with those things. And I think culturally in the Philippines, as it relates to people in the United States, they show a lot of respect and they show a lot of
yeah,
deference, but sometimes they need to stick up for themselves or they
correct.
just need to be not confrontational, not combative. You can't get into an argument, but I think that a lot of loan officers want people that have a mature
Hmm.
sense of to your point, negotiating or bargaining.
Yeah,
Hey, how do we
correct.
do this? How do we do it better? How can we do it so we're both happy? How do we do this faster? And I've met with a lot of loan officers who hire a broker VA and they say, hey, I need this broker VA to speak up more when there's a different way we could have done something or a different way we could have done it better instead of just following the process. And so one of the things that I can tell about just from speaking with you, Joy, is that you've gone and done nursing, you've done call centers, you've done mortgage, you've been at multiple places, you've been in the industry during tough times, and now all of a sudden you're paired with somebody where you just say, "Hey, you're a mother of two." You've lived a lot of life, I think, compared to some of the other candidates that we have. But I think for all of those watching, you have to really know your value,
Yes.
and then the things that you don't know, you have to be really quickly willing to learn so that you feel confident even about the things
Yeah.
that you don't know. And then take that confidence to your loan officer and say,
Yes.
hey, let's do this, or what about this way, or what do you think about this? Because they really want a partner. They
Yes.
don't want an employee. And maybe you can talk about this a little bit too. But from what I found, every single loan officer that hires a virtual assistant, they're not looking for, oh, I'm an assistant. I want them to file my paperwork and check my emails and when I say get me a coffee, go get me, they're not looking for an assistant. They're
Hmm.
looking for a loan partner. And I think
Yes.
Joy, from what I can tell with my conversations with your client, she sees you very much as a partner. Can you speak to that? Is that how you feel as well?
Yes. I actually sees her not actually my boss or not my loan officer. I really don't see her like that. I see her as a business partner.
Hmm.
So I always tell her that we work together. So if I see her during the weekends, doing some email, I sent her a little snapshot and Slack and telling her, hey, it's weekend. Can we do this on Monday? Yeah, she's gonna okay. I'm gonna offline. So we're actually my thing here is that I really wanted to become friends, even though sometimes it's tough because
Mhm.
not everyone is always happy.
Mhm.
So I try to understand her situation, and
Mhm.
she also tries my situation. So
Mhm.
we're actually doing a more of a teamwork.
But what I will tell all of you watching that are evaluating Broker VA is, from a management perspective, Charisse, Kay, Mary Core, myself, if we get into a situation where we have a loan officer that wants some help with improving some of your areas, some of your abilities, etc., we come at it from a very cool, calm approach. Our goal is to help you and empower you. We are not
Correct.
micromanagers.
Yes.
And Joy can attest to this. We do
Correct.
not micromanage. We're here to help. We obviously have trainers in all these different
Yeah.
sections. If you need help with lending pad or RIVE or wholesale portals or income calculations or loan structure, we will help you and we will help you like that. You ping us and you say, hey, I need help. You schedule some time on a calendar. Help you will get. We do not micromanage you. Um, and then obviously if it's not working out, then we will give you a call and let you know. But that's few and far between.
Yeah.
I do have some more questions to wrap up, but I guess is there anything else that you'd want to cover on this interview that I haven't asked so far?
No, I'm
Okay.
good. I think my wrapping thing here is that when you because sometimes Filipinos are really sensitive deep inside. You know that.
Mhm.
Filipinos culturally is really, really sensitive. When it comes to feedback, I'm actually the person that you can give me feedback all the time. So I always tell my loan officer, if you really don't like things to how it the way it is, just tell me. We're good to talk about it. So any feedback or any things that people will tell you that is really kind of hurting in you inside, just think of it that it's just an improvement. It's
Mhm.
always a room for improvement. So improving yourself,
Mhm.
because it's you're gonna see all the worth of yourself if you know how to improve yourself. So that I think that my best advice for my Filipino virtual assistant, not take everything too personal because that's not this is business. So everything is business.
Joy, it was so
Yes.
nice talking to you. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Joe, for your time as well.